I'm Archbishop Mark Coleridge, and you are watching Q&A, question and answer for the Catholic leader. Sometimes I get asked, what's my favourite book? Now that's a tough question to answer. I have a lot of books on the shelves of my library at home, and if I look along those shelves, I see the story of my life, and from time to time in my life different kinds of books have appealed to me, but at this time of my life the thing I am most drawn to when I read, apart from work, is what's called historical fiction. Now it's not history writing in that scholarly sense, and it's not fictional writing like a novel. I don't read as many novels now as I once did, perhaps I should read more. But I'm more drawn to this combination of history and fiction. And I think particularly of three works that have touched me deeply. And the first of them is written by a guy from Brisbane, well-known writer called David Malouf. And he wrote a little book some years ago, quite a few years ago, called An Imaginary Life. And it's the story of the exile of the Roman poet Ovid in the time of the Empire. Ovid was exiled to the far edges of the Empire, and this book tells the fascinating and beautiful story of Ovid in his exile befriending this child, this mysterious child. So the book moves between poetry and prose in some sense, but it's not just a once upon a time story, because the story that Malouf tells is not just about Ovid, it's about the human being. It's a great read. A second work of historical fiction that has struck me powerfully is by Marguerite Yourcenar, and it's known as the Memoirs of Hadrian. Again, it's a historical fictional account of the Roman Emperor, Hadrian. And it's a fascinating evocation not just of the personality, the intriguing personality of the Emperor Hadrian, and of a fascinating time in human history, but again, the story she tells transcends the time and place of the Emperor Hadrian and becomes a story about us here and now. Just recently I've read two books by Hilary Mantel. They're kind of a continuation, one from the other. The first is Wolf Hall, and the second is Bring Up the Bodies. And they're the stories of Henry VIII, Thomas Cromwell, Thomas More, that whole tumultuous period of Tudor history. And she tells the tale in a fascinating way that again transcends the time and place of Tudor England and makes it a story that has a kind of relevance across the board, a transcendent quality. And that's what I like about these books. They speak about once upon a time, but they do so in a way that speaks about here and now and speak about me and my life. So if I'm asked what kind of book do I like to read at this point in my life, I would say it tends to be historical fiction.